So we've been making videos about Dungeons & Dragons since 2017,
I was a child.
sharing our knowledge of the rules and our opinions about the mechanics of the game, how to make characters and all those things. And as much as it pains me to admit, don't always get it right.
The fact is that our channel has always been that of our opinions. I would like to say they are educated opinions. We do a lot of research and study on our D&D books. We have played a lot of D&D with a lot of different
Played
people.
a lot of D&D.
But we're just two guys that read a lot of D&D books and say what we think. And sometimes what we think can be wrong, and sometimes our friends and our community let us know how wrong we were.
So we're going to go back into the time machine, look back at some of our previous videos, both from way back and from more recently, and look at 5 times we were just wrong.
Oh man, are we doing a flashback episode?
It's a clip show.
There's a lot to discuss today, so let's get rolling.
So Kelly, for the next Drakenheim game, I have this really big build in mind, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it set up on the table.
Well, never fear, because I got you. Why have a tabletop when you can have a table on your tabletop?
It would be like a tabletop table, which is the sponsor for this week's episode. This is the incredible tabletop table from Tabletop Table, which is a table to go on top of your table.
We heard you like tables, so we put tables on top of your table so that you can tabletop while you table.
So this is a really gorgeous piece that they sent us for the purpose of making this promo. And honestly, this is probably actually going to be a staple for our show in Drakenheim going forward, because this thing is so useful. So this is an elevated tabletop that can go on top of your table. And then you've got a gaming area on top of it that you can put your miniatures and your battle maps and your Dwarven Forge and and all your terrain, while still keeping all this nice space below for your character sheets and all that other stuff that you need to have pencils and pens on, and then everyone at your table can see everything clearly instead of having to stand up and do this stuff to find miniatures.
Not everybody has a gaming table at home. Most of us don't. Even us, we have our lovely gaming table here in the studio. But when I run my home games, I just have my dining room table, which is a lot smaller. And one of the things that we run into all the time is that there's actually not enough space on that table for all the maps that I have set out, as well as everybody's computers or iPads or dice. And it may not seem like much, but just raising this up and giving you that space underneath actually leaves a lot more room for you to deal with. And then when you're done, if you have somewhere to store your stuff and you need to clear the table, you can actually just pop this up, take it away, and now your table's ready for dinner or whatever.
So there's 2 models that are available for Tabletop Tables Kickstarter. The Hexlite is a lightweight, affordable, and super portable version. And then there's the Relic here, which is crafted from solid walnut, uniquely serialized, and really stunning. It's like heirloom quality.
The walnut one is heavier, but it's really beautiful. And each table includes 4 magnetic accessories: dice bowls, card trays. It has this lovely rail system on the side.
Oh, that'll get your ASMR going.
We love a good ASMR magnet click. You can even add an extender accessory if you're running a big campaign or you need space for larger boards. You can get more than one of these and make a much larger map on your table.
What's really cool about these is they have a portable storage bag.
Yeah, it folds up and fits in there.
Yeah, and disassembles. So the whole thing just folds up and all fits right inside this bag. So you could bring it to cons.
Yeah.
It was actually really easy to take it to the studio. If you think this is really cool, you can get this on Kickstarter right now at exclusive backer pricing before it hits retail. I think it's really clever.
I honestly think that some people might want 2, even 3 of these. Head to tabletoptable.com and check out the complete configurations page to find the perfect fit for your game. This is one upgrade your party will thank you for.
Thanks to Tabletop Table for sponsoring this week's episode. Let's get on to this week's topic. So the first one that I think this one always comes to mind because I feel very wrong about this one.
We had such strong
Yeah,
opinions, and within a year, I remember just being like, man, what were we
yeah.
talking about?
So this is back from our Bard subclass tier ranking in August of 2020 when we gave the College of Swords Bard a D tier ranking. Let's go look at what past Monty and Kelly had to say.
And when I look at the abilities, there's some really cool and unique ways to use a College of Swords bard. And you get choices for how you can use your bardic inspiration in unique and interesting ways. But a lot of these ways are selfish. They only impact you as the bard player, which, in my opinion, actually takes away from what the greatness of the bard is.
I think that leaning into the playstyle offered by the subclass makes you a worse bard. And that's why I give it a D.
So that was our opinion then. What did the community think of that opinion? Okay, we heard you, and we have actually played Swords Bards quite a few times now.
And
Swords Bard has also probably been one of the most multi-class characters for both of us. It comes up in like
yeah,
every multi-class conversation.
it's so good. I mean, the College of Valor Bard for 2024 might be better than it still. But I think both of us were like, we really hope the College of Swords Bard gets updated for 2024 because it would really sing with the new extra attack and with all the new mechanics and everything. I think it would be amazing.
Not to mention Swords Bard was so good in BG3.
Yeah.
It was
So
great.
so what actually makes it good is that the fact of the matter is that having played a Swords Bard now, using the blade flourishes yourself makes you the main character. Like it just when you play a Swords Bard, we said this before. It's like the charisma based Gish build feels like you are the master of social interaction and role playing. You have all the utility magic in the game, and you get to throw down in melee. And I think
Yeah.
with new spells, with new changes, it just gets even better. When you take two levels of fighter, it's crazy good. And I think one of the biggest things that like convinced me of like, wow, this is really good, is stacking the defensive flourish and shield.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah,
There are so many builds that we've created on the channel now that use the Swords Bard. And I mean, you and I have done a lot of play at conventions.
yeah,
And I think both of us have brought Swords Bards into our convention play on
yeah.
multiple occasions. So with all that being said, the Swords Bard is not D tier. That
No,
we were wrong.
It's like S tier.
I would give it a high A.
The thing that's changed my mind on it, and this is one of the things I said in that original ranking. It's like, oh, you're going to drop a concentration spell and then dive in and start stabbing people with your pathetic rapier. And the thing is that it's not pathetic at all, right? Is that the potential damage output and what you can do as a swords bard by fighting in melee it's like it's really good. Like it gives you this ability to decide like, oh, I'm going to incapacitate all my foes with hypnotic pattern and then help the party kill them. Or I'm going to just all of a sudden buff myself up into a combat beast and just destroy this solo boss.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
2 thumbs up from us for the Swords Bard. For all of you out there who have been watching the channel since then.
Please
And
consider this our formal apology.
yeah, we apologize. Moving on to number 2. This one is actually from a recent video. We recently tier ranked all of the weapon masteries in the 2024 Player's Handbook. We had a lot of great opinions, and I think that we were dead on with most of them. But there was one in particular that I think stood out as the community definitely tore into us for this one. And that was the Gray's weapon mastery. Let's see what old Monty and Kelly from a few weeks ago had to say.
Yeah.
So 3 to 5 damage when you miss.
Better than nothing?
Better than nothing, but again, this is one of those cases that I think even more so than Cleave. where cleave is like, it's going to feel great at low levels and then it starts to taper off. This one is going to be mildly useful at low levels and then immediately falls flat.
This one will be good against minions and kobolds who
are minions.
who automatically die because they took 3 or 4 points of damage.
I think that this is my D tier weapon mastery.
It's sad because the greatsword is like one of my favorite weapons. And here's the other ironic thing about it. The more accurate your weapons are, the more accurate your attacks are, the worse this weapon mastery becomes. Because the less it happens.
Yeah.
The more you hit, the less graze occurs.
And like, we're not saying that a bit of extra damage when you miss isn't a good thing. It is. But when you compare it to all the other weapon masteries, which...
Yeah, and so we said that, and then we got this comment that broke down some of the math for us. So graze is mathematically the best for single target damage.
Yeah, we flubbed that one.
Yeah, we did.
We were too impressed by the flashiness of the Vex and Nick together.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up, people did point out that a lot of times in a lot of videos, we talk about how easy it is to generate advantage, and abilities that just grant you advantage on top of the multiple other ways you have to generate advantage aren't that good. Yet we gave Vex an S, and I think what happened, if I'm being honest, you and I are combining Vex and Nick into one thing.
I think that I was also coming off my experience having played a dual-wielding Valor Bard fighter multi-class and destroying the world with Conjure Minor Elementals, which recently got errated in a way that we actually suggested.
But yes, we were both playing characters that used the Vex and Nick weapon mastery on a Valor Bard, and so it came out that we were like, well, Vex is S tier, look at how much we did. But Vex wasn't what made that amazing. So Vex, actually, we gave an S. I think it's a A.
Yeah.
And Graze might be the S.
I think the thing is that Graze goes right back onto your greatsword or polearm master wielding character, and like, even though the accuracy, like, basically someone said is like it's a straight up damage boost for when you miss. And I think we should have looked harder into the math of it and actually broken that down. So the short answer here is that that Graze is really good. And like, I think for me it was one of those things of like, oh, I'm taking a greatsword because I want Great Weapon Master anyways. And so like, I have Graze, but like, it's like whatever. But the truth of it actually is that no, you have Graze and it's actually really good.
Yeah, it actually adds to the builds that you would make with those weapons. So again, apologies. Graze is great. Vex is okay. Nick is still awesome.
Yeah.
Next up comes from a video that we did in 2019 on overrated spells. Now, I think that our opinion in that video still actually stands, but I do want to revisit this one. Healing Word, we said, is overrated. And I think we do say in the video that it is one of the best healing spells you can take, but the reason why it's overrated is that people misuse it because they'll try to like get their fighter up when they're still in melee combat just to have them knocked back down again. But the fact is that I think it deserves the hype that it gets. I had a character at my table who really just cast Healing Word all the time on the wizard who kept going down in every combat. And because of those healing words, that was usually the turning point that led them to victory in so many combat encounters.
I definitely have felt like, and I've noticed in more recent play, especially as we've taken 5th edition into higher levels, we have a 3-person party in our actual play, which means that if someone goes down, it starts a death spiral really quickly.
Oh, we didn't do the what did we previously say?
Oh yeah, okay. So we had said that Healing Word is overrated, and this kind of extends to our opinion about healing in general. So let's take a look at what we said.
If you have your frontline fighter
going up against a dragon and he gets dropped down to 0 hit points, and you use Healing Word to bring him back with, let's say, 7 hit points now, one attack from that dragon is just going to knock him right back down.
This is why, by high level play, Healing Word is an insufficient way to bring someone back into the fight on the front lines.
And what do the community have to say to us about that?
I like the comment about preventing a TPK being overrated. Yeah, I think that Healing Word is really good. I do think it is kind of essential. And I think I would now recommend that most groups have some access to it.
If you have a character that can take Healing Word, you should take Healing Word.
Especially now that it's buffed in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's an essential, like, it's your emergency button spell.
I think one of the things that the sentiment that we have behind it in our defense is I think that a lot of groups go into playing D&D feeling like somebody has to play the healer.
And that's not necessary.
I think that sometimes that ends up being like, you know, when you have that situation in a group, when everyone comes to session 0 and it's like, I'm playing a ranger, I'm playing a monk, I'm playing a barbarian, I'm playing a sorcerer. And then there's the last player who hasn't really decided what they want to play yet. And they look at everyone else and everyone looks at them and they're like, you're going to play a cleric, right? You're going to play a bard with Healing Word, right? You're going to play druid? Yeah.
I mean, one of those sounds cool, I think that actually, I know the point you're trying to make, but also there's a lot of classes that have access to healing, and there's a lot of classes that can do things other than healing with a little bit of healing. Even a paladin in your party is kind of a makeshift healer.
Yeah.
And a pinch.
I mean, I actually think that a cool thing now to do in 2024 is a lot more people can take Magic Initiate for druid or cleric, and get guidance, Healing Word, and
then you're good.
Yeah.
So Healing Word is not necessarily overrated. I think there was a point we were trying to make in that video, and I still think that point stands, but we want to just come out and say, like, no, take Healing Word and use Healing Word. It will save the day.
Yeah.
So the next one on our list is going back to the Rogue subclass tier rankings for 2024. And that is looking specifically at the Thief Rogue. Let's see what we had to say in our tier ranking video.
With second story work, and we get increased jump distance. And that's what you got at level 3. So it does nothing for combat.
From level 3 to 9, you have a climb speed and a bonus action,
which is good for creative players.
Yeah, it's not 0. It's just compared to the Soul Knife and the Arcane Trickster.
Now, we gave the Thief Rogue a B ranking. I will note that in this video, we also gave the Assassin a C. And that is something that people vehemently disagree with, but I'm sticking to my guns on that one. But the Thief Rogue, we were fixated on Use Magic Device being really good, but a high-level feature. But a lot of people had a lot of cool things to say about interacting with objects with the Fast Hands feature from 3rd level onwards. Let's look at some of those comments.
So with all of that in mind, I think that I actually rewatching the video, it was shocking that I saw myself go, yeah, in Fast Hands you can do this, and then I moved on. I basically said nothing about it and just swept it under the rug and kept going. And that was my bad. That was silly Kelly over here, just not paying attention to the implications that the ability actually had.
It's still not the way that it's in Baldur's Gate 3, where it's a full-on extra bonus action, but I think it's really good, and it's really good for creative players, and I think it is worth giving the Thief Rogue a bit of a bump up in the rankings, because I think that if a creative-minded player can do a lot with this feature, whether it is using healer's kits or throwing down traps or interacting with the environment, we harp on how much that matters and how much that creative play is important. And so I echo the sentiment that it's surprising that here's a feature that lets you do creative stuff, and the dungeon dudes were like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of our blunders, and you can happily play the Thief Rogue. And if you are one of the people who let us know in those comments how much you love the Thief Rogue, we felt that, and we understand, and we agree. And you have shown us the way, so thank you to our community for that one.
Okay, so the last one is a bit more of a controversial one. And I think we have changed our perspective on this by dint of playing other systems. And this comes from our 5 Horrible House Rules video. It's also from a way back in the before times, when we called out critical fumbles. Now, we'll get to this, our honorable mention next, but for those of you keeping score at home, our 5 Horrible House Rules video was for a very long time our most disliked video of all time on the channel. Most of our videos on the channel are 98 to 99% liked, whereas Horrible House Rules was like 93-4%.
Which is still a pretty good percentage, but it was our most hated video.
Because people did not like our stance on critical fumbles. Let's see what we had to say about critical fumbles.
And honestly, rolling a 1 is already a punishment most of the time.
Yeah.
So adding these additional features can just cause animosity at the table between the players and the DM.
Such players have put effort into building their characters so that they can succeed reliably and all the time, and they don't deserve to be punished for that.
And a lot of people had some feedback for us. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Here's the thing. We love wild magic.
Yeah.
We love random mutations. And we've played a lot more systems recently, like the Alien RPG with its panic mechanic, and Morkborg. And we have played more systems that implement critical failure in a well thought out and narratively driven manner.
I think there's a specific story that happened. We looked up a few house rule critical fumble tables before we made this video. One of them had that so you roll a 1 on your attack, and then you have to roll on another table. And if you rolled a 1 on that table, you like chopped your own head off. We saw that on a table and we were like, what are you even talking about? And we saw another table that was like, your weapon just explodes and shrapnel fly. Like we saw some of the silliest things in these critical fumble tables that probably led to this opinion of like, this is awful. But there's some good ones out there too.
There are, and so this is where the nuance comes into play. Critical fumbles are not universally bad in all RPGs. Critical fumbles can be cool. There are ways to implement them that are workable. There's not a lot of ways that it's been done successfully for 5th edition, but I think that we would not preclude that possibility.
I think that our stance here is not to say, you're right, critical fumbles are amazing. We still think that people should take a skeptical eye and decide whether the critical fumble table they're making is too punishing for their game. But again, at the end of the day, it's your table. And if everybody, I'd say that this should be something in session 0.
Oh yeah, this is 100%.
You're having session 0 with your players. You're like, I want to use this critical fumble table. If somebody looks at that and goes, wait, my head explodes if I roll a 1, I don't like that. Then maybe have a discussion about it.
Yeah, I think for me, it all comes down to critical fumbles exist in this wide spectrum of cool mechanics like success at a cost and degrees of success and degrees of failure. And as we've played more RPGs that aren't D&D, that put a little bit more thought into making success and failure not a binary between you either do the thing or you mess up, and find ways to create those narratives of like, you do the thing really, really well, or you almost did the thing and, oh, you really messed up badly. That kind of nuance in the results that you can get from die rolls actually is really fertile ground. And so the idea of a critical fumble in isolation might seem like a bad idea, but a more robust resolution mechanic that includes a variety of possible outcomes, those things can be really well designed, and it makes me wish that we did have more in here for D&D specifically, because the more I played other systems that aren't D&D that do it really, really well, the more I'm like, I really want something like this in D&D.
Yeah. Now, there is one honorable mention that we do want to bring up. Technically, this isn't part of our 5, and we actually are adding this in kind of off the cuff based on the fact that we just released a video shortly before filming
Week
this.
before recording, at time of recording. Yeah.
So at time of recording, we are just seeing the flood of comments on this video, and we decided to tack it on to the end here. So we do want to do an honorable mention. We recently released a video with a title that was meant to be pretty jarring to try to get everybody excited. And it definitely got people excited, but we think we may have been too jarring, and the actual content of the video may have slipped through the cracks. And that was banning multiclassing.
Yeah, so we did a provocative title. Multiclassing should be banned.
We try to do provocative titles to like get people excited to be like, oh, what's this video about? And then hope that they watch the video.
We might have put too much on the ball this time.
We should have called it like reasons you might ban multiclassing, because like we also mostly don't ban multiclassing. I do in my game, and I say why in the video, and it's not because I'm like, I hate multiclassing. It's because I had 4 new players who were like, multiclassing, what's that? I'm too confused for that. I don't want to worry about it. And then I had one player who was like, can I multiclass? I'm like, I actually think it would be better if we all just decided not to. And he was like, yeah, cool. And we had that discussion before ever going into the game. That being said, we love multiclassing. And this isn't a take where we were wrong. I think our mistake here was possibly being like, oh, let's give it a spicy title.
I think we were, yes. I wanted to have that conversation because it had been on my mind with some of the game design stuff that we've been doing recently.
Yeah.
And here's what I will say, and what I have learned from this is that I think the multi-classing mechanic of 5th edition, which is the 3rd edition style mix and match multi-classing, I'm going to go on a limb and say it may be the most beloved mechanic in D&D.
It might be the reason why a lot of people play D&D instead of other systems.
Yeah.
Is because of the fluidity of multiclass.
And so the suggestion that you should not allow, and I will say, like, in a complete vacuum, if I were joining a D&D group to play D&D with, and we're playing 5th edition, and the dungeon master says, this content is banned, I personally would seriously reconsider whether or not I wanted to join that game, especially if it was stuff that was especially if the dungeon master's like saying stuff from the player's handbook is banned.
Now, that's a different situation than if Monty was coming to join my game. And again, I love showing new people D&D. So Monty's like, hey, can I jump into your new game? And I go, yeah, we have 4 brand new players, so I don't think I'm going to be using multiclassing in this game. Everybody's just like, they picked their class, they've picked their subclass. That's enough for them. What would you say?
I would say that's totally fine. And I think one of the things that I will like respond to is that I think that there's always a social dynamic at play, and one of the things in the comments that was really, really common was people saying, if you ban stuff, you're a weak DM, or if you can't grasp the multiclassing rules, you're a terrible player. And I really don't like that mode of thinking. I think that someone who has looked at their group and has considered the group dynamic and everybody, like, D&D is for everybody. And I introduce a lot of new players to the game. If I'm introducing my mom, my sister, and my brother, and maybe in the future my niece when she's old enough to D&D, you can rest assured that I'm going to simplify things and restrict a little bit of the material that's available so that they can like digest that content. And that's something that's done amongst friends and family members who have a social understanding. And I think that there's kind of this mentality of the group of strangers playing together situation versus the established social group of like friends and family that are coming together. And I think that there is this mentality that like a D&D group is formed by a bunch of strangers who don't know each other, and there's like this trust that hasn't been established yet. And in that context, I actually do agree. Like, I kind of agree. If I was playing with a bunch of strangers that I didn't know, that I hadn't met before, and the dungeon master started to ban stuff, I'm going to be like, whoa, this is not what I'm looking for. I think I'm going to look for another group.
But most of the time when I get to the point of like actually banning something, it's based on a conversation that I have with everybody at the table openly. And we decide whether that works at our table or not. And multi-classing was just one of those things that I knew that one guy at my table knew how to make. He's totally okay playing by whatever rules I give him. I just know that he loves doing the really cool multi-classing builds. But we actually did a few sessions of a campaign where he was playing a multi-class character, and it actually was tough. Like, I had two of the other players be like, why am I not doing what he's doing? And when that came up, I was like, oh, there's a difference happening here between the guy that's playing the Warlock Sorcerer and the guy, or the two people that were playing like the Druid and the Ranger.
But in general, I think that one of the things that I'm going to take away from this is like, my general philosophy is that like I don't like banning stuff in my games in general.
No.
And so definitely I think we'll be a little bit more careful with using, like, suggesting in the video title of something that something should be banned. Because
and occasionally we like to give spicy titles, but usually our content has more depth to it than what we can say in a title.
Listening to the community, like, multi-classing is a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing a lot more content about multi-classing and combos and stuff like that. Like, we're not going to stop talking about multi-classing. It rocks. We love it. We love using it. We love making characters that do it. And so, like, we don't think that you should ban it as on principle. We think that you should ban it if it's going to be disruptive for your play group. And there are absolutely contexts where it might be. And you have a friendly conversation with your trusted friends about it, instead of being like a draconian dungeon master that is like, you may not.
And with all that, these are the things that we've been wrong about.
We've been wrong about a lot of other things.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Tell us. This is your chance. Let it out. Go off, bro.
Tell us all the things that we've been wrong about politely, please.
Politely. And
we do our best.
We do. Yes, we're trying. We're trying. But maybe we'll do another video about other things that we're wrong about in previous videos. I mean, we also get rules. We didn't even go into it, like, all the times we mess up the rules in our actual play. We're not going to go there.
Don't talk to me about how often I mess up my own characters in our actual play, okay?
Yeah.
I hear you. I know. I'm aware. I'm embarrassed. But I'm not, because I'm human and I'm playing a game and I'm in the moment, and I don't know. I'm not an encyclopedia of rules. Even when they're in front of me, I have a hard time. So that's a whole different can of worms. But tell us about some of the other things that we've gotten wrong that you really think that we should re-examine. A lot of times people bring up stuff that I'm still like, no, I'm holding true to my statements.
Sticking to my guns. Assassin rogues. Sticking my guns on that one.
But there are a lot of things that we can re-examine, and I think as people, it's important that we grow and listen to the community and hear what you guys have to say. So tell us your thoughts in the comments below.
The videos that we create on our channel are made possible thanks to the incredible generosity of our Patreon supporters, who are never afraid to tell us when they disagree with us on our patron-only Discord server. You can absolutely join that community too and help support the channel. The links are right down below.
And if you want to see us wrong all the time, you can check out our actual play in the Worlds of Drakkenheim, which airs Tuesday evenings right here on YouTube. All the previous episodes are right up over here.
And we got plenty more content where we espouse our horribly wrong opinions. Check out our tier rankings right up over here.
Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and ring that bell so you never miss an episode.
Thanks so much for watching, even though we are wrong all the time. We'll see you next time in the dungeon.